Oh my God, pigtails! You top set on both boards. What the fuck? Top
You
set.
are so freaking lucky, dude.
Greetings, humans, and welcome back. I'm Joey Pigtails, and this is episode number 3 of my poker vlog. Oh man, do I have an episode for you. Have you ever heard of BOMBPOTS? As in $25 per player, pot limit Omaha, there will be blood everywhere, double board BOMBPOTS. This episode is all BOMBPOTS. The session is a 5-5 pot limit Omaha with $25 double board BOMBPOTS every dealer change, and is played at Orange City Racing and Card Club on Sunday, March 5th. I joined this game after an hour or so at the 1-2 PLO table, so I'm into the session for about $500 and came over with around $800 total in my stack. I ended up playing about 20 BOMBPOTS during this session, so I've narrowed this video down to the hands where I had post-flop action. There are a number of decision points where I was unsure on what to do, so please feel free to provide your insight in the comments. Also, stick around at the end for a personal update on what I'm doing leading up to the WSOP this summer. Souls are going to be crushed in this episode, so grab some popcorn and strap yourselves in. It's going to be a wild ride. We're 6-handed right now, and the first hand I looked down at is interesting. 9 of hearts, 8 of spades, 5 of hearts, 3 of spades. A double-suited gapped rundown hand. With $150 in the pot, the flops we see are Jack of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, 9 of clubs on top, and Queen of hearts, 5 of spades, 10 of hearts on the bottom. I flopped ugly trip 9s on the top board and a pair plus gutter to the sucker straight, plus a 9-high flush draw on the bottom. I have some equity here, but my hand is often second best on the top board, with my draws on the bottom not being all that great, so I decided to check to see what happens, especially since I am out of position to most of the field here. It's checked around to the button, who bet $75. I got the impression based upon how the villain bet that he was stabbing at this pot. Let me know if you read their nonverbals the same as I did. The big blind calls 75, and I called as well. I'd expect top set and wrap draw type hands with equity on both boards to bet full pot here, so I'm thinking neither of these players is that strong. With $375 in the pot, the turn on top is one of the best cards I can see for my hand, and the 3 of hearts giving me a full house, and the bottom board is an ace of hearts giving me a flush there. I've now improved on both boards, but neither of these hands is the nuts or even the second nuts, so I can't get too aggressive with this hand. The big blind checks, I go ahead and check, and surprisingly the button checks back immediately. This action tells me quite a lot, basically that I'm currently ahead on top, and that I'm probably ahead on the bottom as well right now. The river on top is the Queen of Spades, and the river on the bottom is the 10 of Clubs. Both of these cards are bad, but honestly, most river cards were going to be, so it's good that we got here rather cheaply. And now the button bets $125 out of turn. How peculiar. This bet is going to stand if the action doesn't change, so when the big blind checks, I go ahead and check too to let the button's bet stand. Now, I expect for the big blind to either fold or raise this bet, so when he calls the bet, I now have a decision to make. It's certainly possible that I am beat on both boards here, but I'm also getting 5-1 on a call with $625 in the pot and only $125 to call. Getting a good price, I flick in the call. The big blind shows his hand as the ace of spades, king of clubs, jack of hearts, 4 of spades, for a straight on bottom and 2 pair on top, which are no good here. I roll my hand over, showing the boat on top and flush on the bottom, and the button mucks, and that's what we call the scoop. The next hand I'm in the small blind, and we're 8-handed. I look down at ace of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 6 of hearts, 3 diamonds. With $200 in the pot, the top board is 2 hearts, 5 of clubs, and 9 of hearts, and the bottom board is 2 of spades, 5 of diamonds, jack of diamonds. I flopped pretty big here with nut straight draws on both boards, a nut flush draw on top, and a 9-high diamond draw on the bottom. I'm first to act in the small blind, and I'm in the middle of a conversation, so I make the first mistake of this hand in checking. It checks around to a middle position player who is short stacked, and he bets $25 into 200. The next player to act raises to 125, and it's folded to me. Folding is not an option here, so the question really becomes whether or not to raise or call right now. There are still 4 players behind me left to act, and while I have a lot of equity here, I don't have a made hand. I don't expect a raise to get everyone to fold, so I like to call with the intention of calling off or jamming if this gets re-raised for some reason. There's one call on my left, and the initial better folds. With $600 in the pot, the top board is the 4 of diamonds, giving me the nuts straight, and the bottom board brings the 10 of hearts, still leaving me with a draw on that board. At this point, I'm eyeing the other player's stacks as I'm considering my options. This is a really weird spot. It's possible someone else has the same straight that I have on top, so getting quartered is possible. However, I also have a redraw to the nut flush on that board, so I could end up taking that as well. I also still have my draws on the bottom, so fold equity could be a thing here, right? I ultimately decide to lead here for pot of $600. The player on my left has a little more than that, so I expect him to fold or jam. However, he just calls, leaving about $100 or so behind. And the other player also calls, giving us a pot of $2,400. The river on top is the 6 of diamonds, and the bottom is the 7 of spades. My straight on top is no longer the nuts, and I have nothing on bottom. I'm thinking I may be getting quartered versus the player who has me covered, and I get the impression that his hand isn't the nuts on either board, as he would have been more aggressive on the turn. So I feel like I need to bet here to get him to fold. The player on my left is first to act, though, and sticks his last $100 in, and the other player reluctantly folds. And then we get the bad news. Our opponent has 7 of hearts, 8 of spades, jack of hearts, king of diamonds for a bigger straight on top and 2 pair on the bottom, and he scoops this $2,600 pot. It took me a little while to realize why he stuck around on the turn. Once I saw his hard draw, I understood. With that, my stack falls back down to about $1,000 or so. In the next hand, I am on the button, 9-handed, so the pot is $225, and I look down at king of hearts, 8 of spades, 6 of hearts, 4 of hearts. This hand is marginal at best, but it's a bomb pot, so we take what we can get. At least I'm in position if I flop something. With flops of 7 of spades, 4 of clubs, 10 of diamonds on top, and 7 of clubs, 10 of hearts, 5 of hearts on the bottom, I flopped a bit of equity here with a double gutter on top and an open-ended straight draw and a king-high flush draw on the bottom. I'm not exactly in love with all of this, though, as most of our draws aren't to the nuts, but I am in position and I'm hoping to see a cheap turn card. The guy in middle position bets $100, and it's folded to me. There are a couple of things going on beside our hand equity that I'm thinking about right here. Firstly, the player in seat 2 has been showing some very visible disgust tells as she stares at her hand, but is also intently watching the action go by, including sizing up the player in seat 3 after he bets. These actions scream strength to me, but she's generally aggressive when she has it, so I'm not certain she would check raise a spot like this unless she was deeper. And I would have expected her to bet from early position if she has a nutted hand on one board to build a multi-way pot herself. Secondly, the player who bet has been potting it when he's really strong, so this small bet seems like he doesn't feel too good about his hand on either board, but he feels compelled to build a pot in case he hits it. So I call, and the player in seat 2 calls as well. With $525 in the pot, the turn on top is the king of diamonds, and the bottom is the ace of clubs. I've now turned kings up on top, but the bottom is a complete miss and adds more draws that I don't have to the mix. Seat 2 jams for about $500, seat 3 calls, and while I still have outs to make my hands on the rivers and I'm getting 3-1, I just don't think this is a spot that I should be continuing in. Let me know what you think in the comments. I didn't see exactly what seat 2 had, but she verbalized diamonds on top and 2 pair on the bottom, and she ended up scooping this spot. In the final hand of the vlog, I looked down at king of diamonds, king of clubs, 4 clubs, 2 of hearts, and the small blind. With 9 players and $225 in the pot, we see flops of 6 of clubs, king of spades, 10 of diamonds on top, and 3 of clubs, 5 of spades, 9 of diamonds on the bottom. I flopped top set on top with an open-ended straight draw on the bottom. Although one of those 6s is gone, and the other 3 I'd considered dirty since they would complete a higher straight with 7-8. Regardless, I have a monster here, and I want to get as much money in as quickly as possible, so I pot it for $225. There are a couple of folds and one call before the guy that scooped the bomb pot earlier against me pots it, putting me all in. I call off, as does the initial flatter, creating a pot of about $2,300. We see turn cards of the 3 spades on top and the king of hearts on the bottom, giving me top set on both boards now, and the rivers are the 4 diamonds on top and 2 of clubs on the bottom. My hand has already been tabled, and the short-stacked villain has mucked his cards. The other villain says, "You're so frickin' lucky, dude," as he rolls over the 9 of clubs, 9 of spades, 2 of spades, 4 of hearts for top set and open end on the bottom on the flop, which I binked a 1-outer to scoop. Oh, yeah. Well, that was certainly a wild day of poker. For those of you who are curious, here's the graphic from the session showing my ups and downs and final results. I was in for $500 and cashed out for $2,120 for a total profit of $1,620. As I mentioned earlier, I'm currently planning on heading to Vegas this summer for at least the month of June to play over a dozen WSOP bracelet events, including the Mystery Bounty, Colossus, Millionaire Maker, and others in pursuit of my second WSOP cash, and hopefully the first of many bracelets. To prepare, I've narrowed down my bandwidth significantly and employed a concept of small routines equal big results. I'm working out in the gym daily, eating right, getting good sleep, and studying poker every single day. And for the next 10 weeks, I'm going to be an absolute machine. I'm getting pretty comfortable with producing these vlogs, so I'll be getting one out every 2 weeks at the minimum as my bandwidth allows, possibly once a week if I can make that happen. We'll see. Thank you all again for sharing this journey with me. It means a lot to have such positive support from the community so far, and I'm looking forward to growing with you all as I venture down the rabbit hole of poker life. Until next time, be a good human. Bye-bye.